Actually, I am not considering myself, when I'm teaching, a teacher. I'm not considering myself a conductor when I'm conducting. I am always musician. I try to do this approach. Of course, in teaching, you can talk a little bit more. You are dealing with young generation, but I'd like to tell them that most of the most important things is never in the score. We have to find out the big composers putting green light for our creative imagination. I'm conducting, I'm obviously, you should avoid to talk too much. Just with your being and body language and ideas, you have to conquer and seduce the players that they will follow my ideas. At the end, they will hear the piece inside like I hear inside, and after we can follow each other with great creative energy flow between us. What are my plans? Like every musician, if you're asking musician this, on the possible highest level playing great composers' pieces, and with this lifting our spirit and lifting the listener spirit. And I am very positive because we have great players and they understand me already now, and we trust each other. We can go very high. It's actually, you know what? Every concert is somewhere an emotional journey. And we have to go through the rehearsal. When we are dealing with the materialistic stuff, we have to organize things. But the whole thing is, the aim is not, of course, just playing the notes, but putting ourselves into an emotional journey. And it's fascinating. I am very lucky that I am a musician. Having said this, maybe in my next life I like to be a singer, but he's also a musician.
You've never tried?
No, not. But having said this, all of my education was, my teachers, chamber music teachers, used this sing. Forget the violin or the instrument. This one was so important for me. This kind of inspiring me to be a singer with this wooden box, which is the violin, because I'm also a violin player. And I remember the Amadeus Quartet, who was a legendary string quartet, and I was lucky to study with them. And the first violin, Norbert Brenin, who was a great artist, told me, you know, Gábor, the secret is nothing else that you go above the materialistic thoughts and you are one with the music. You singing is not downbow, upbow, not piano, forte. So, like this. You know, Hungary, geographically, in Central Europe, it's a place between the west and the east, between north and the south. No mountains is blocking a weather change. For instance, one day can be a beautiful warm weather in Hungary, next day cold, ugly, next day again very good. And also the history of Hungary is very, very tragic and full with defeats. So I think people were needed somewhere, an island or a resort where they can still be winners in their dreams. And this is somewhere music making. And it's a very long story, but the Hungarians has a culture. We have a culture. We exaggerate our feelings. So I am sitting here, and whilst I talk to you, I am very happy to talk to you. But emotions coming, going, I feel intensely. And the Hungarian would say, "Oh, you were stirring in me a lot of extreme emotions." It's not extreme in me at the moment, but Hungarians always expressing things with an exaggerated way, and this is great present for us, I think, in music making, because music, you know, in classical music and every music is expressing many emotions, and there are lots of contrasts, and I think a Hungarian can feel this very well. And also I was raised in, I was in the music academy in the 70s, 1970s. It was the communist time in Hungary. And not only I had great teachers, fantastic teachers, but, you know, if you're living in a society where you cannot express anything freely, music can do it. So I remember our teachers, how they taught us. It was not just teaching; they were sweating in a lesson. My teachers were shouting, dancing, singing. It was an island somewhere, the music academy, where we could somewhere exhibit our emotions. And all of them, I remember they told me, Gábor, at least in music, be honest, and if you're shy, you cannot be very communicative artist, because music making is an emotional striptease. This was my education. Oh, it's a long story. I'm very touched. I'm thinking about my mother and sister in Hungary watching me, but not only this. I am not a small boy anymore, but it's fantastic feeling. And when I am on the television, I try to avoid one thing. I'd like to be honest. I don't want to be a circus act, you know, because some persons in this television culture, in today's age, people are a little bit going into they selling their product with a kind of theatrical elements, and they're not honest. I'm not only talking about music, but, you know, people, a politician or somebody. Of course, you have to convince the listener who is watching you. But I think the best thing is to be yourself and be totally honest. And I hope that this will happen. Actually, I know it will happen. But I love this opportunity. But I'm telling myself, don't want to play well, don't want anything. Just enjoy and be together with the music. I think this is the best thing. And I will tell my friends in the Camerata Manchester just before going on the stage. Just no wish, don't want to show that you are great, or which you are, but just enjoy it together.